think the 1970s was all about fondue and TV dinners? Think again. These disco-era kitchens served up some of the most practical, budget-stretching, and surprisingly creative meals in American culinary history. Let's dig into 25 easy American dinner recipes you never knew were actually defining an entire generation's relationship with home cooking, convenience, and making do with what you had. Chili Mac, the ultimate one-pot wonder that turned two pantry staples into pure weeknight magic. In 1974, with gas prices soaring and inflation hitting double digits, American families needed dishes that stretched every dollar. Chili Mac became the working parent's secret weapon. Boil a box of elbow macaroni, dump in 2 cans of Hormel chili, stir over medium heat, and top with shredded cheddar. The whole thing took 15 minutes from start to finish, used 1 pot, and fed a family of 4 for under $3. The thick, meaty sauce coated every pasta tube perfectly, while the melted cheese created creamy pockets throughout. Mothers joining the workforce found this revolutionary. You could hold down a job and still get dinner on table without collapsing from exhaustion. This was survival cuisine disguised as comfort food, proving easy didn't have to mean bad, just practical. Today's pasta and protein bowls owe everything to this humble 1970s staple. Before we move on to the next food, don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic videos from the 1930s through the 1980s. Spaghetti and meatballs, not your Italian grandmother's version, but uniquely suburban American. By the 1970s, this classic had transformed into something you could accomplish with ground beef, ragu, and Prince spaghetti. Mix a pound of beef with egg, Italian breadcrumbs, and garlic powder. Roll into golf ball-sized spheres. Brown them in a skillet, then simmer in Prego sauce while the pasta boiled. The noodles came out soft enough that nobody complained. Pile it on plates, ladle sauce and meatballs over top, shake on Kraft Parmesan from the green can. The beauty was its democratic nature. Rich and working-class families ate virtually identical versions. It dominated school cafeterias, church potlucks, and Wednesday night dinners. Kids loved it because it was familiar. Parents loved it because 1 pound of meat stretched into 12 meatballs. This represented America's complete adoption of immigrant cuisine into something distinctly its own. Pot roast with vegetables, the Sunday dinner that defined middle-class aspirations and proved you had arrived. Serving pot roast wasn't just feeding your family during a decade when economic stability felt elusive. Season a 3-pound chuck roast generously. Sear it hard in a Dutch oven until deeply browned. Add onions, celery, beef broth, cover tight, and braise for 3 hours at 325 degrees. An hour before serving, nestle quartered potatoes, thick carrot chunks, and onion wedges around the roast, letting them soak up rich, beefy juices. What emerged was transformative. Meat so tender you could pull it apart with a fork, vegetables caramelized and infused with meaty richness, braising liquid reduced to thick, glossy gravy. The whole house would smell like Sunday should smell, warm, safe, abundant. This represented continuity with the past in a decade obsessed with the future, your grandmother's recipe promising some things wouldn't change. Macaroni and cheese with hot dogs, the kid-approved dinner that made Kraft a household deity and became a cultural phenomenon. By mid-1970s, the Blue Box was America's best-selling packaged dinner. Slicing hot dogs into it wasn't lazy, it was culinary genius in your children's eyes. Boil the macaroni 7 minutes, slice Oscar Mayer Franks into 1/4-inch coins, drain pasta, stir in orange cheese powder, milk, and margarine. Never butter, always margarine. The sauce turned silky and neon orange, coating every elbow perfectly. Fold in hot dog slices, and you had dinner for 4, costing less than $2 in 12 minutes total. The texture was pure comfort. Soft noodles, creamy sauce, hot dogs, both salty and slightly sweet. Kids ate without complaint, negotiation, or drama. For parents juggling work and housework during the 1973 to 1975 recession, that was worth its weight in gold. This captured the 1970s faith in food technology. Beef stroganoff over noodles. The dish that made American housewives feel continental without leaving their kitchens, representing the decade's obsession with international cuisine. The American version bore little resemblance to Russian original, but nobody cared. Slice sirloin into thin strips, brown quickly in butter, removed to plate. Sauté canned mushrooms and onions, then add the secret ingredient defining 1970s cooking, Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. Mix with sour cream, beef broth, Worcestershire sauce, return beef, simmer 10 minutes, serve over buttered egg noodles. The result was rich, creamy, indulgent, sauce clinging to every noodle, tender beef, earthy mushrooms. Sour cream gave tangy richness cutting through heaviness. Mushroom soup provided savory depth, tasting far more complex than simple ingredients suggested. This was dinner party food for families aspiring to worldliness while living in tract housing. It said, "We're cultured while staying firmly within American taste comfort zones." Shepherd's pie. The British import transformed into the ultimate American leftover disposal system. Families discovered this layered casserole could absorb Sunday's roast beef remnants, Monday's mashed potatoes, and whatever vegetables languished in the crisper. Brown ground beef with onions until crumbly, add canned mixed vegetables, pour in jarred beef gravy, season with Worcestershire sauce, spread into casserole dish. The crowning glory was thick mashed potatoes. Yesterday's dried out ones actually worked better because they held shape. Fork the top into decorative peaks, dot with butter, bake at 375 degrees until potatoes formed golden crust and filling bubbled around edges. What emerged was pure comfort, crispy potato peaks giving way to creamy mash, savory meat and gravy, vegetables soft and sweet. Each forkful delivered multiple textures and temperatures. This represented resourcefulness as virtue, proving yesterday's leftovers could become today's triumph during an era when waste not, want not returned as more than quaint saying. Chicken Parmesan. The Italian-American classic that conquered suburbia, shedding restaurant origins for home kitchens. This was dinner for impressing without intimidating when company came, but kids still needed to eat. Pound boneless chicken breasts thin, set up breading stations, flour, beaten eggs, Italian breadcrumbs mixed with Parmesan. Dredge each breast through all three, fry in quarter-inch oil until golden and crispy, about 4 minutes per side. Transfer golden cutlets to baking dish, spoon marinara over each, top with mozzarella slices, slide under broiler until cheese melted and bubbled with beautiful brown spots. The first cut revealed 3 distinct layers: crispy breadcrumbs, tender juicy chicken, tangy tomato sauce, and stretchy creamy cheese, binding everything together. Served with spaghetti and frozen garlic bread, it was restaurant quality achieved at home, or at least felt that way. Kids loved the cheese. Adults appreciated sophistication. This proved 1970s American cooks could tackle ambitious projects and win. Beef Enchilada Casserole. Tex-Mex simplified into a single pan of cheesy, spicy comfort. The decade saw Mexican-American cuisine exploding into mainstream cooking, but it wasn't authentic. It was Tex-Mex filtered through Midwestern sensibilities. Brown ground beef with onions and El Paso taco seasoning packet. Spread canned enchilada sauce in 9x13 baking dish. Layer corn tortillas torn to fit. Spread half the seasoned beef. Add refried beans straight from can. Sprinkle generously with cheddar. Repeat layers. Top with more sauce and cheese, thick enough to hide everything underneath. Bake at 350 degrees 30 minutes until bubbling hot, cheese golden, and slightly crusty. Each serving revealed distinct layers: tortillas absorbed sauce and turned soft, savory taco-seasoned beef, creamy beans, cheese both melted within and crispy on top. Served with sour cream, shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes, jarred jalapenos. This was Mexican food white America could embrace. Familiar casserole format, mild enough for children, cheesy enough to feel indulgent. Beef and bean burritos. Handheld convenience turning Mexican street food into American dinner. Burritos entered mainstream consciousness as Taco Bell expanded nationwide, making Mexican food seem exotic yet accessible. Set-up production line: skillet of seasoned ground beef, browned with onions and taco seasoning, pot of warmed refried beans, shredded cheddar, diced tomatoes, shredded lettuce, sour cream. Warm flour tortillas over gas flame until pliable and slightly blistered. Working quickly, spread beans down center, top with beef scoop, add cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, sour cream dollop. Fold sides first, roll from bottom up, tucking tightly for secure package. What you got was complete meal in your hands. Soft warm tortilla, creamy beans, savory slightly spicy beef, melted cheese. Cold lettuce and tomatoes provided textural contrast. Sour cream cooled any heat. This represented the decade's love affair with customization. Everyone could build exactly how they wanted. Kids kept it simple. Adults loaded everything. Democracy on a dinner plate, wrapped in flour tortilla. Chili with beans. The simmering pot that sparked regional debates and warmed millions of bellies. Chili became the ultimate crowd pleaser and budget stretcher. The beans versus no beans debate raged. Texas purists demanding pure meat, while the rest of America stirred in kidney beans to stretch meat further. In an era of economic uncertainty, those beans were smart cooking. Brown 2 pounds ground beef in large pot. Add diced onions, bell peppers, garlic. Stir in lots of chili powder, cumin, oregano, salt, pepper, spices toasting in beef fat, releasing oils and becoming fragrant. Add 2 large cans diced tomatoes, 2 cans kidney beans, cup of beef broth. Some added cocoa powder or coffee shot to deepen flavor. Simmer at least an hour, preferably 2, stirring occasionally as flavors melded and mixture thickened. The result was hearty, warming, tender beef permeated with spices, creamy beans adding substance, tomatoes broken down into thick sauce. Serve with cheddar, onions, sour cream, saltine crackers, or cornbread. Eggplant Parmesan. The vegetarian option before anyone was really calling themselves vegetarian. As vegetarianism emerged from counterculture into mainstream, families embraced meatless Mondays for health and economy. Eggplant Parmesan offered meat-free satisfaction disguised under enough cheese and breadcrumbs that nobody felt like they were suffering. Slice eggplant into half-inch rounds, salt generously on both sides. Let sit 30 minutes to draw out bitterness. Pat dry, bread like chicken parmesan, flour, egg wash, Italian breadcrumbs. Fry each round in olive oil until golden and tender, about 3 minutes per side. The eggplant transformed from spongy to silky rich, coating crispy and golden. Layer fried eggplant in baking dish with marinara and mozzarella, repeating until everything's used. Top with sauce, cheese, parmesan. Bake at 375 degrees until bubbling and golden. The eggplant became meltingly tender, almost creamy, absorbing tangy sauce and rich cheese. Breading stayed slightly crisp, even under layers. This proved vegetables could be the star. Chicken Kiev. The stuffed butter bomb chicken that made home cooks feel like Russian aristocrats and represented peak dinner party ambition. This was the dish attempted when you really wanted to impress, watched Julia Child, and thought, I can do that. Pound chicken breasts thin. Season with salt and pepper. Place finger of herb butter in center. Butter mixed with garlic, parsley, chives, formed into log and chilled solid. Roll chicken around butter, tucking sides to create tight package sealing in the butter bomb. Flour the rolls, dip in beaten eggs, coat with breadcrumbs, refrigerate 30 minutes. Fry in hot oil, carefully turning to brown all sides, about 10 minutes total. The breading turned deep golden and crispy, while inside, chicken cooked through and butter melted into molten garlic herb sauce. The moment of truth came at table. Cut into that golden crust and hot herbed butter flowed out like savory lava, pooling on plate. This was drama on a dinner plate, the meal that said, "We've arrived." Pigs in a blanket. The party appetizer that doubled as emergency dinner when nothing else would do. These occupied unique space between party food and legitimate meal, appearing at every gathering, but also saving dinner when parents came home late and needed something fast kids would actually eat. Pop open Pillsbury crescent rolls, unroll dough, separate into triangles. Cut each triangle into 3 smaller strips. Take cocktail franks or cut regular hot dogs into thirds. Wrap each in dough strip. Place seam side down on baking sheet. Bake at 375 degrees, 12 to 15 minutes. Dough would puff and turn golden, developing slight buttery sheen and tender, fluffy texture, contrasting perfectly with salty, slightly smoky hot dogs inside. They came out looking picture perfect, golden brown, slightly glistening, smelling of buttery bread and hot dogs. Served with mustard or ketchup for dipping, they were finger food that satisfied. This represented the 1970s at its most unapologetically American. Not gourmet or nutritious, but fast, affordable, and fun. Shrimp fried rice. The Chinese takeout classic that ambitious home cooks recreated with varying success. The explosion of Chinese restaurants across suburban America made everyone want to recreate mysterious, delicious dishes at home. Fried rice seemed achievable, but authentic versions required techniques not intuitive to American palates. The key was cold, day-old rice. Fresh rice was too moist and turned mushy. Heat wok screaming hot. Add oil, crack in 2 eggs. Scramble quickly, breaking into small pieces. Push aside. Add cold rice, breaking up clumps. Let sit undisturbed a minute to get slightly crispy on bottom. Add frozen mixed vegetables, cooked frozen salad shrimp, soy sauce, sesame oil if available, garlic powder. Toss everything over high heat, rice absorbing soy sauce, and turning golden with crispy spots. The result was one pan meal hitting all right notes. Slightly chewy rice with crispy bits, briny shrimp, rich eggs, sweet vegetables. It wasn't authentic, but satisfied brilliantly, using up leftovers perfectly. Chicken chow mein. The crispy noodle marvel that defined American Chinese food, bearing almost no resemblance to authentic Chinese cooking. This was the era of la choy canned vegetables and crunchy noodles from cans, used without shame. Open can of la choy chicken chow mein. Yes, whole dish came canned, vegetables and sauce included. Heat in saucepan with additional cooked chicken, usually leftover rotisserie or poached breast, cut into strips. The canned mixture had celery, bean sprouts, water chestnuts, bamboo shoots, and thick brownish gravy, tasting vaguely of soy sauce and cornstarch. Some added fresh vegetables, sliced mushrooms, bok choy if findable, more celery for crunch. Simmer until hot and slightly thickened. Open can of la choy chow mein noodles. Thin, crispy fried noodles tasting like salty hay in the best possible way. Pile on plate, ladle hot chicken mixture over, watching noodles soften slightly, but maintain crunch. The contrast was everything. Soft, saucy chicken and vegetables over crispy noodles, gradually absorbing gravy. This was comfort food disguised as international cuisine. Tuna Noodle Bake, the cream of soup casserole that defined economical family cooking. No dish better represented 1970s home cooking. The recipe, printed on Campbell's cream of mushroom soup can, appearing in every community cookbook, the dinner saying, "We're making it work on tight budget." Can of tuna, bag of egg noodles, can of cream soup, bag of frozen peas could feed a family for under $2. Cook egg noodles until tender, drain, dump into large bowl. Add 2 cans drained tuna, can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup, straight from can, half cup milk, bag of frozen peas still frozen, maybe diced onion or celery. Mix together, pour into greased casserole, top with crushed potato chips or breadcrumbs mixed with melted butter. Bake at 350 degrees 30 minutes. What emerged was pure comfort. Soft noodles coated in creamy sauce, tuna flaked throughout, peas adding sweetness and color, topping golden and crispy. This was survival cooking elevated to art form. Creamed tuna on toast, the quick dinner that was simultaneously comforting and slightly depressing. If tuna noodle bake was Thursday dinner, creamed tuna on toast was Friday night resignation. This was what you made when paycheck hadn't arrived, grocery shopping hadn't been done, staring into nearly empty pantry, wondering how to call it dinner. Melt 2 tablespoons butter in saucepan, whisk in 2 tablespoons flour, cook 1 minute until paste formed. Slowly whisk in 2 cups milk, stirring constantly until it thickened into smooth white sauce. Season with salt, pepper, maybe dash of paprika. Fold in drained can of tuna, breaking it into chunks. Let simmer a few minutes until heated through and slightly thickened. Toast white bread slices until golden, place on plates, ladle creamy tuna mixture over top. The sauce soaked into toast, creating soft, savory foundation while the top stayed slightly crispy. This was desperation cooking done right. It was hot, filling, used what you had. It said, "We're surviving," without saying, "We're thriving." Turkey casserole with noodles, the post-Thanksgiving savior that transformed leftover turkey into something completely different. Every American family faced the same problem after Thanksgiving: mountains of leftover turkey and the challenge of making it interesting for days. Turkey casserole solved this brilliantly. Cook egg noodles until tender, drain well. Mix with chunks of leftover turkey, can of cream of chicken soup, can of cream of mushroom soup, cup of turkey gravy left over from the feast, bag of frozen mixed vegetables, and sour cream for richness. Season with salt, pepper, poultry seasoning, maybe some dried sage to echo Thanksgiving flavors. Pour into greased casserole dish, top with stuffing crumbles or crushed Ritz crackers mixed with melted butter. Bake at 350 degrees until bubbling and golden, about 40 minutes. What emerged was completely different from Thanksgiving dinner. The creamy sauce bound everything together. Vegetables added color and texture. Topping was crispy and buttery. This transformed tired leftovers into welcome dinner, proving good cooks wasted nothing. Cabbage roll casserole, the deconstructed version of time-consuming ethnic tradition, making Eastern European cooking accessible to busy Americans. Traditional cabbage rolls required hours, blanching cabbage leaves, rolling each one individually around filling, arranging carefully in pot. Cabbage roll casserole delivered the same flavors in fraction of the time with none of the fuss. Brown ground beef with onions and garlic, stir in cooked rice, season with paprika, salt, pepper. Chop cabbage into chunks, layer half in greased casserole dish, spread meat rice mixture over top, add remaining cabbage. Pour 2 cans tomato sauce mixed with a tablespoon brown sugar over everything, ensuring cabbage was mostly covered. Cover with foil, bake at 350 degrees 90 minutes until cabbage was meltingly tender. The cabbage sweetened as it cooked. Tomato sauce became thick and rich. Beef and rice absorbed flavors. Each serving had everything traditional cabbage rolls offered without tedious rolling. This was immigrant food adapted for American pace of life. Cabbage soup with sausage, the Eastern European peasant dish that became American budget cooking staple. In a decade marked by economic struggles, cabbage soup represented smart cooking. Cabbage was cheap year-round, sausage added flavor without breaking the bank, and one pot fed a crowd. Slice Polish kielbasa or smoked sausage into coins, brown in large pot until edges crisped and fat rendered. Add diced onions, celery, carrots, cook until softened. Chop head of cabbage into chunks, add to pot with cans of diced tomatoes, beef broth, bay leaves, caraway seeds if you had them. Season with salt, pepper, paprika. Simmer at least an hour until cabbage was completely tender and flavors melded. The soup developed deep, savory flavor. Smoky from sausage, slightly sweet from cabbage and tomatoes, rich from long simmering. Serve with crusty bread or cornbread for soaking up broth. This was hearty, filling, warming, the kind of soup that sustained you through cold winters and tight budgets. It tasted like resilience. Turkey roll-ups with stuffing, the creative leftover solution that turned Thanksgiving remnants into handheld convenience. Beyond casseroles, inventive cooks found ways to repurpose turkey that felt fresh and different. Take leftover turkey slices, spread with layer of leftover cranberry sauce, add scoop of leftover stuffing, roll tightly, secure with toothpick if needed. Place seam side down in greased baking dish, pour leftover gravy over top, cover with foil, bake at 350 degrees until heated through, about 25 minutes. Remove foil last 5 minutes to let tops get slightly crispy. What emerged was ingenious. The turkey stayed moist from gravy. Cranberry sauce provided tangy sweetness, cutting through richness. Stuffing added savory herb notes and textural interest. Each roll-up was complete Thanksgiving flavor profile in convenient package. Kids liked eating with their hands. Adults appreciated not facing another plate of traditional turkey dinner. This proved leftovers didn't have to feel like repetition, just required creativity and willingness to reimagine what you already had. Spam fried rice, the leftover legend that turned canned meat into culinary gold, representing ultimate 1970s resourcefulness. Spam had reputation problem. It was cheap, it was canned, it reminded people of wartime rationing, but in fried rice, it was revelation. Cube Spam into small pieces, fry in hot wok or skillet until edges were crispy and golden, fat rendering out. Remove Spam, add beaten eggs to pan, scramble quickly, push aside. Add cold day-old rice, breaking up clumps, letting it crisp slightly. Add frozen mixed vegetables, soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic powder. Return crispy Spam to pan, toss everything together over high heat. The Spam became crispy, salty, slightly sweet, transformed from questionable ingredient into flavor powerhouse. Combined with rice, eggs, vegetables, it created satisfying one-pan meal using ingredients that never went bad. This was Depression-era mentality applied to 1970s convenience products. It said, we use what we have without apology, and it tasted better than it had any right to taste. Spam fried rice turned skeptics into believers.
Scalloped potatoes with ham. The ultimate one-dish wonder that turned Sunday's leftover ham into Monday's triumph. Scalloped potatoes with ham ruled American kitchens from the 1940s through the 1970s. After World War II ended, casserole dishes became symbols of abundance and domestic prowess. Housewives would slice potatoes paper-thin, layer them with chunks of leftover ham, and smother everything in a rich cream sauce thickened with flour and butter. The dish baked slowly in a moderate oven until the potatoes turned fork tender and the top formed a golden, bubbling crust. Each layer absorbed the salty, smoky essence of the ham, while the cream sauce melded everything into a cohesive, rib-sticking masterpiece. This wasn't just efficient cooking, it was economic genius. One ham bone could flavor an entire week's worth of meals, and the scalloped potato casserole stretched it even further. At church suppers and family reunions, a properly executed scalloped potato dish earned serious respect. Today's obsession with fresh, light sides has left this hearty classic behind, replaced by roasted vegetables and quinoa salads that would baffle any 1950s homemaker. Macaroni and tomatoes. Long before mac and cheese became a boxed commodity, Depression-era families stretched their pasta with garden tomatoes in this humble, soul-satisfying dish. Born from necessity in the 1930s, when meat was luxury and cheese was precious, macaroni and tomatoes kept families fed on pennies. Cooks would boil elbow macaroni until tender, then stir in home-canned tomatoes, juice and all, along with a spoonful of bacon grease for richness, salt, pepper, and sometimes a pinch of sugar to cut the acidity. The dish simmered together until the macaroni absorbed the bright red tomato liquid, creating a comforting, tomatoey pasta that stretched to feed whoever showed up at dinner time. In rural communities, this dish appeared weekly during tomato season, using up the bushels that ripened faster than families could eat them fresh. Some cooks added onions, fried in butter. Others included bell peppers from the garden. But the core remained unchanged. Pasta and tomatoes united in economical harmony. The dish carried no pretension, demanded no special ingredients, and asked nothing of the cook beyond stirring occasionally. Today's pasta culture worships al dente texture and imported Italian ingredients, leaving this soft, sauce-heavy comfort food relegated to fading handwritten recipe cards. Broccoli rice casserole. The ultimate 1970s bridge between health food trends and comfort food traditions, broccoli rice casserole appeared at every potluck, armed with Campbell's cream of mushroom soup and processed cheese. This was when America first discovered broccoli wasn't just garnish, and convenience products promised liberation from kitchen drudgery. The recipe demanded cooked white rice, frozen broccoli florets, condensed cream of mushroom soup straight from the can, a brick of Velveeta cheese cubed into submission, and sometimes a can of water chestnuts for crunch. Everything got stirred together in a buttered casserole dish, topped with crushed Ritz crackers, mixed with melted butter, and baked until bubbling and golden. The result was a creamy, cheesy, crunchy monument to processed food innovation. The Velveeta melted into smooth, glossy perfection, while the condensed soup provided salty, umami depth. The broccoli softened but retained enough structure to feel virtuous, and those Ritz crackers added textural contrast. This casserole let mothers claim they served vegetables while delivering the comfort of cheese and carbs. Today's food culture rejects both the processed ingredients and the heavy casserole format, favoring roasted broccoli with olive oil and sea salt that our grandmothers would have considered tragically undercooked.